What if I told you that just a few years ago, I was living paycheck to paycheck, drowning in debt, skipping meals, and constantly anxious about money? And today, I no longer need to work a 9-to-5 job to survive. I am financially independent. How did I do it? And more importantly, how can you do it too? Stick around, because I'm about to walk you through every painful mistake, powerful breakthrough, and practical strategy one used to break free. This is not just a success story. It's a blueprint. Welcome to Cash Stuffing and Budgeting. 1. My breaking point, when survival was a struggle, 0:30 to 5 o'clock. Let me take you back to the beginning, the chaos before the calm. I was working a full-time job that barely covered rent. After taxes, bills, food, and commuting costs, I was left with almost nothing. I had no savings, no plan, and honestly, no hope. Debt was swallowing me whole. Credit cards, student loans, overdraft fees. I remember having to choose between paying for electricity or buying groceries. That's when it hit me. No one is coming to save me. I have to fix this. That moment, sitting alone in my dark apartment with just $6 in my account, was my breaking point. But it was also the start of something new. I made a decision. I was going to become financially independent, no matter how long it took. 2. The wake-up call, defining financial independence. Before I could change my situation, I had to understand what I was aiming for. I started by asking, what does financial independence really mean? To me, it wasn't about being rich. It was about having control over my money instead of letting money control me. It was about not relying on one paycheck, having a safety net, choosing how I spend my time, not being chained to survival mode. I read books. I watched videos. I followed people who had already made it. And I realized financial independence isn't a mystery. It's a formula. And so, I started from zero. Literally. 3. Tracking every single penny. Step 1. I had to know where my money was going. So I started tracking every expense, down to the last coin. I used a notebook at first. Then I created a simple spreadsheet. I categorized everything. Rent, groceries, transportation, debt repayment, entertainment, miscellaneous. What I discovered shocked me. I was spending more than I thought on food deliveries, random online purchases, and monthly subscriptions I didn't even use. This wasn't just about cutting costs. It was about awareness. And once I saw the numbers clearly, I knew where I could begin. 4. Embracing the cash envelope method. Enter cash stuffing. I had heard of it from a budgeting channel like mine. The idea was simple. Withdraw cash for your categories. Physically divide it into labeled envelopes. Once the envelope is empty, you're done spending. It was the first time I felt my spending. Counting those bills, stuffing those envelopes, it gave me control in a way debit cards never could. My first categories were groceries, transportation, miscellaneous, savings, yes, even just $10 per week. Cash stuffing helped me avoid overspending and develop discipline. And slowly, I started seeing results. 5. Mastering my mindset. Here's the truth. Budgeting is emotional. You can know the numbers, but if your mindset isn't right, it won't last. At first, I saw budgeting as punishment, like I had to suffer to fix my mistakes. But that mindset kept sabotaging me. I realized I had to switch from scarcity thinking to strategy thinking. Instead of saying, I can't afford this, I started asking, is this aligned with my goals? I created financial affirmations. I visualized my debt-free life. And I stopped comparing my journey to others. Mindset was the key to my transformation. 6. Creating my first budget that actually worked. My early budgets failed because they were too strict or unrealistic. So I simplified. 1. I listed my income sources. 2. I subtracted my fixed expenses. 3. I gave every remaining dollar a job. I used the 50/30/20 rule as a guideline. 50% needs, 30% wants, 20% savings/debt payoff. And I tweaked it to my reality, which meant more like October 30th 60 in the beginning. I budgeted monthly, but checked in weekly. I gave myself grace but stayed accountable. That's when things started to click. 7. Destroying debt. Debt was my biggest enemy. So I attacked it with the snowball method, paying off the smallest debt first for a quick win, then rolling that payment into the next one. It gave me momentum. I started seeing balances shrink. I celebrated every debt I killed, even the $200 ones. And I used every extra dollar, side hustle income, birthday gifts, tax refunds, to speed it up. Within 18 months, I had paid off $7,000 in credit card and loan debt. 8. Breaking the cycle of impulse spending. Emotional spending was one of my worst habits. I used shopping to cope with stress, but each impulse buy pushed me further from my goal. To fight this, I created a 48-hour rule before purchases, unfollowed tempting influencers, removed saved cards from apps, gave myself a fun budget so I didn't feel deprived, and I started journaling my urges instead of acting on them. This emotional awareness saved me thousands. 9. Earning more without burning out. Cutting expenses only got me so far, so I looked for ways to increase income without burning out. I explored freelancing, selling digital printables, flipping items online, taking surveys, starting this YouTube channel, and I invested in skills that paid off long-term. More income meant faster debt payoff and savings. Eventually, I had multiple income streams, some passive, some active. That's when I saw the light. Freedom wasn't just about cutting back, it was about creating value. 10. Building my emergency fund. This was the game changer. Once I had $1,000 saved for emergencies, I stopped panicking over car repairs or surprise bills. I stopped using credit as a crutch. I built it up to 3 months' worth of expenses. That gave me peace. It also gave me power, the ability to say no to toxic jobs, to choose opportunities, to breathe. My emergency fund wasn't just money, it was safety. 11. Investing for the future, even with small amounts. Once I had no debt and a solid emergency fund, I turned to investing. And let me be honest, I was terrified. I thought investing was for rich people, but I learned I could start with as little as $5 using apps like Acorns or Fidelity. I focused on index funds, Roth IRA contributions, dollar cost averaging. Small, consistent investing created compound growth. I wasn't chasing quick wins. I was building wealth. 12. Living below my means, even when I didn't have. Here's the crazy part. Once I started earning more, I didn't upgrade my lifestyle. I didn't get a fancy car. I didn't move to a bigger apartment. I lived as if I was still broke, but I was stacking cash. I prioritized saving over spending, peace over possessions, experiences over expenses. And that lifestyle gap, that's what created financial independence. 13. What financial independence looks like for me now. So where am I today? I'm debt-free. I have a 6-month emergency fund. I earn income passively. I work because I want to, not because I have to. I sleep without anxiety about money. I travel without guilt. I can help my family. That's what financial independence gave me. Choices, not chains. If you're watching this and thinking, that could never be me, trust me, I used to think the same thing. But every big change starts with one small decision. Start tracking. Start saving. Start believing. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it, one envelope, $1, one step at a time. If this inspired you, hit that like button, subscribe to Cash Stuffing and Budgeting, and drop a comment sharing your financial goals. Let's build this freedom together.